So, you want to start a business. Well, what kind of business? I'm not talking about what you might make, sell, or service. Instead, I'm talking about the ownership. Who will own and run your business? Let's go through some of the common forms of business ownership. Let's start with a sole proprietorship. One owner with all of the management power. One owner that can claim all the profits. They carry all the risk and get all the rewards. But add more owners, then we have a partnership. Each owner is a partner. Each shares in the profit. Do all partners run the firm? Not necessarily. A partner that's active in managing the firm is a general partner. A partner that invests money but is otherwise not active in running the company, they're a limited partner. Perhaps a partnership wants to grow, but they need more cash to expand. The present owners can sell some of their shares in the company to investors. The company is now a corporation. Those investors, they're stockholders. Therefore, they're the owners, and they can easily sell their shares at any time. Corporations are legal entities. In effect, they have legal rights just like a person, which means the corporation is responsible for anything that might go wrong. The investors, at worst, can only lose the value of their stock. But who runs the company? For a corporation, the owners, that is, the stockholders, they can elect a board of directors. That board can choose the top executives in the company, but the board of directors cannot influence day-to-day activities in the company. What does this mean? Well, to a certain degree, in a corporation, stockholders own and managers manage. There are many other nuances in trying to choose the best ownership model for your organization, but hopefully, now you know some of the basics associated with the most common ownership models. And hopefully, you'll be able to consider the important issues and ask the right questions as you move forward in developing your organization. In business, pretty much everything customers enjoy requires some materials. A great meal required delicious ingredients. A movie experience required comfortable seats. Even your massage was made better with fragrant, nourishing oils. Companies must recognize that every material purchase is an opportunity to improve the product or service provided. Procurement and materials management are the segments of the company that find suppliers, purchase the materials, and then make sure that this inventory is stored and used effectively. If done right, procurement and materials management can improve customer satisfaction. They can contribute to the company's profitability. And by partnering with reliable suppliers, they can help the company develop a stable supply chain that can be counted on to continuously deliver high-quality products and services to the consumer. To illustrate these points, let's use a cell phone as our example product. And actually, since we're buying parts for this cell phone, let's consider just one part of the cell phone, the battery. What does our company need to think about? Let's first consider the consumer. What does the consumer expect? They want value, a long-lasting battery at a reasonable price. They probably also want a battery that is safe, a small, lightweight battery that won't overheat. If this is what the customer values, and if those are the things that we advertised, the battery in some way needs to fulfill the customer's expectations. A great battery helps make our phone better. A better phone will sell more units, and thus our revenues go up. Now that we made the customers happy, let's remember that revenues alone won't bring us a profit. We need to consider our company's needs. The company needs to control costs. While we're buying great batteries for our customers, we have to know what the total cost of purchasing these batteries will be. I'm not just talking about the per unit cost. You must consider the total cost of these batteries. The cost of storing batteries, costs associated with theft and damage, the cost of negotiating and placing orders from battery companies. And don't forget that someone needs to pay for the delivery of those batteries. So if keeping costs low is important to your company, you'll need to remember inventory costs include the cost to buy, hold, and order inventory. That brings us to the final party involved in our battery purchase, the supplier. The battery supplier will ultimately dictate battery cost and the quality of the battery. But they also impact our cell phone company in other ways. If they can fill orders quickly, we can keep low inventory levels. Even if we run out of stock, it won't take long to get a new shipment. For that kind of service, though, we'll probably have to pay a higher price. On the other hand, a slower supplier may have lower per unit prices, but we'll need to carry more inventory since we have to place orders early just to be sure they'll be able to fill them before we run out of batteries. This takes care of our battery needs today. But how about the next generation of cell phones? We'll need stronger batteries that fit in our new phone design, and we still need to control our costs. In modern business, suppliers are business partners. When we sell more phones, they sell more batteries. On the other hand, if they make batteries better, we may sell more phones. Because of this, suppliers and innovative manufacturers must work together to understand the customer, develop new technologies, and also to develop manufacturing and logistics strategies. Whether your company is buying cell phone batteries, tomatoes, theater seats, or even massage oils, it needs to consider the customer, the supplier, and our company. As you head back to work today, ask yourself these simple questions. Are the customers happy with the materials they buy or use? Do we consider our supplier a partner? Are suppliers involved in helping us develop better products and services? And do we consider the cost of holding inventory or just the cost of purchasing? If your answer to any of those questions is no, you are likely missing an opportunity to maximize your company's potential. Look around you. Look at your stuff. How was your stuff made? Which items were made well and which items were not? Which companies do you always trust to make good stuff? Your favorite car, clothing, and electronics companies. They can only stay your favorites if they can deliver high-quality goods over a long period of time. Good manufacturing and quality control are vital components of building a global brand that customers are loyal to. So, let's take a look at some of the primary issues manufacturing managers think about every day. And let's use a car company as our example. So, once they have a design for a car, they need to know the demand. how many cars will be needed each month. Perhaps it's a brand new model. So we might not sell too many the first year, but forecasts tell us sales will grow significantly next year. So just how big should our facility be? Remember, a facility that's too big will be a waste of money. But if it's too small, we risk not having enough cars to sell. In manufacturing, cost is almost always a key consideration. So we have to know how much money will it cost for materials, labor, transportation, facilities, and energy to make each vehicle. How flexible is our manufacturing process? How many choices do we give customers? Do we let them choose car color? Do we offer a navigation system? Can they get upgrades on seats, entertainment systems, sunroofs? Which brings us to quality. What exactly does quality mean to you? Aesthetics, durability, reliability, speed? Manufacturing must make a car that their market deems to be high quality. And even then, what's good today won't be good enough next year. Manufacturing facilities must be ready to continuously improve. Then there's the question of where the cars will be manufactured and by whom. Should we make them in the country where they will be sold, or should we make them in another country? Should our company make them, or should we hire a contract manufacturer to make the cars for us? What are issues manufacturers consider when making these types of decisions? Cost, of course, materials, energy, labor, real estate, taxes. Also, is it possible that the country has more access to skilled labor, or do they have easy access to material and energy-related resources? Perhaps the contract manufacturer has so much experience making these types of high-quality products that you know they can make them better than you could ever make them yourself. Location can also impact speed. Perhaps their location makes for easy movement of inbound and outbound materials. Perhaps your end item is big and expensive. Manufacturing location may impact your delivery times, and perhaps you might be able to avoid import taxes. Currency might also be a factor. Imagine that you are selling a product in Europe. Investing euros and getting paid in euros minimizes the chance that profits might be wiped out by big swings in exchange rates. And in some cases, choosing a manufacturing location might take into account the stability of the country, political stability, crime rates, inflation rates, labor laws, and culture. Executives don't want to have to worry about what might happen tomorrow at their factory that might be 5 or even 10,000 miles away. The companies that make your favorite stuff, Apple, Lexus, Nike, Samsung, Mercedes, they have transformed their corporate images into global brands. But without a backbone of high-quality manufacturing, those companies would not survive. Making their customers happy means that every single product you buy from them meets or exceeds expectations. So, as you use your favorite product today, think about who made it, when it was made, where it was made, and what they are doing right now to make the next product you buy from them even better. In just the last few years, the term logistics has gotten very popular. Global companies like DHL, UPS, and FedEx are known as logistics companies. But what exactly is logistics? I mean, is it just getting finished goods to a customer's home, or perhaps to a store where these goods can be put on a shelf ready for purchase. Yeah, that's logistics, but it's just a small part of what the world of logistics encompasses. You see, logistics doesn't just happen in the last mile before a product gets to the hands of the user. Logistics happens before a product is even made. Even in the most simple supply chains, raw materials and components are shipped to manufacturers. Finished goods are shipped to distribution centers, and from there, products make their way to a retail store or an online retailer's picking and packing warehouse, where finally they can be shipped to your home. All along the way, there are important decisions to be made that will impact whether the shipment was quickly delivered, safely, on time, in the right amount, and of course, at a reasonable cost. Plus, we want to know that our logistics process is flexible. Big orders, small orders, perishable products, heavy products, dangerous goods, orders destined for big cities and others heading towards a farm, domestic orders and foreign orders. And nowadays, customers want to be informed. Customers want to have the ability to track their shipments. Marketing and manufacturing are important, but a great product that comes with a big shipping cost and then arrives late, damaged, or to the wrong address ruins the customer experience. As a result, logistics specialists are constantly making decisions that must make customers happy and keep the company profitable. So how can a logistics manager keep the company profitable? Keep inventories low. Move inventory as quickly as possible and at the lowest possible cost. Empty trucks and containers waste fuel, so keep trucks and containers full by planning effectively. And don't get caught unprepared. Stockouts, rush shipments, and shipping errors are extremely expensive and can mean the loss of a customer forever. So in the end, logistics managers are tasked with making all sorts of decisions that balance cost, speed, and customer satisfaction. What types of decisions? Well, should we use a truck, train, ship, or plane? What type of packaging is needed to keep the items safe? They also consider storage issues like, what's better, having high levels of long-term inventory sitting in a warehouse or low levels of inventory moving quickly through distribution centers? And if you're shipping globally, you'll need to consider issues like import and export laws, tariffs, and documentation. You see, logistics is about a lot more than delivery. Oh, and don't forget, materials don't just move in the direction of the customer. Reverse logistics deals with returned items, items requiring repair that need to be sent to a repair center, and reusable and recyclable packaging. As companies look to control cost, reduce waste, and eliminate product loss while still getting the right good to the right place at the right time, companies need to consider all of the pieces of the logistics puzzle. Logistics is beneficial for everyone involved. Customers get what they want, how they want, and when they want it. And companies can make it all happen with minimal cost and waste. Now that you have a better understanding of some of the vital pieces of the logistics puzzle, think about which pieces your company may not be considering.
The last two elements of setting direction for your organization are articulating your guiding principles and your goals. Guiding principles dictate how you want the organization to behave, especially when your leaders aren't around. You're setting out a principle that an associate can use when they're confronted with a situation where they don't know what to do. What lenses do you want them looking through as they're evaluating those decisions? Because if you have clear guiding principles, the actions they're going to take will be consistent with the direction of the organization, which ultimately helps you achieve that vision and mission. In terms of your goals, you're going to set out those metrics, those things that after a year, 2 years, 5 years, you'll look back and say, we achieved those goals. Try to make them as measurable as possible. It can be $1, how much revenue, how much profit. It can be a number of new customers that you add. Those guiding principles and goals need to be clear enough that they guide behavior, help people behave in a manner that's consistent with the organization's mission. And those goals should be driving you to achieving your vision over time. They need to be aggressive and pragmatic so you get that balance of, I know I can achieve this, but I'm not really quite sure how I can get there, so I need to innovate and push to be able to do so. Let me share some ideas around what guiding principles can be. Some guiding principles I've heard that are great are things like, would I give this to my family? The organization was in the consumer packaged goods industry. And when people were trying to figure out whether they make an ingredient change to a product or a packaging change to the product, they asked their people to step back and say, if you made that change, would you be comfortable giving that product to your family? If the answer was yes, go ahead and make the change. If the answer is no, stop immediately. Other guiding principles I've heard: be net exporters of talent. This is how we want our managers in the organization to behave. Being a net exporter of talent means bringing people in, helping them develop, helping them grow, challenging them, and building their skills. And then once they've reached that next level, push them off to the next team, send them to the next great opportunity in front of them, and then bring in more people behind them. And the net effect of that is you're generating more talent for the organization than you're bringing in. Now think of the behaviors that this can lead managers to take. They won't hoard talent anymore. The notion that I've built somebody and they're a high performer, but you know what? I'm going to discourage them from going to the great new role would run counter to this guiding principle. So by putting this principle in place, that organization is going to achieve that goal of having a more talented organization. So think about what you want your organization to look like in the future. How do you want your associates to behave? And then be able to put in place a principle that they can understand when they're faced with a decision. Now, in terms of goals, laying those out very clearly and then sharing them across the organization, but letting the organization figure out how to get there. So think about what the goals are of your organization. What's the vision? Where are you trying to go? And what set of goals will help you get there? And by articulating them clearly, the organization is going to drive in the right direction.
Whether your company has customers, wants customers, or if your already successful company wants even more customers, knowing that customer is vital to securing sales. So, as a company looks to start selling their products and services, often one of the very key questions they need to confront early in the process is, who should my company want as customers? Who is our target market? Well, your target market should probably include people that you're capable of satisfying while still earning a profit. That way, they're happy and you're happy. So, how do companies describe their target markets? Well, target markets can be described in a number of different ways. Is your target market made up of men or women? How old are they? Where do they live? What language do they speak? What are their hobbies? What do they do for a living? How much money do they make? Or better yet, how much money do they spend? And is it possible your target market is not made up of people? Perhaps your target market is made up of other companies. And it doesn't matter where your company is today. If you're a brand new startup company, a large global firm with a rich history, or maybe your future company is only an idea in your head. Knowing your market is important to being successful today and in the future. Why? Well, a company and its marketing team and sales force have only so much time and money. They need to use their resources wisely. We're not just making sales today. We're building a target market that is loyal to our brand. So whether you want to know your customers' desires today or tomorrow, whether you want to use your company's money and time wisely, or if you just want to find new customers for your products and services, understanding your target market is vital to the evolution of your company. Friends, family, business partners. There are so many people in our lives and so many others we have yet to meet. Developing and maintaining relationships with all of them can be difficult. But these are the people we count on for support, stability, and growth. Nowadays, companies understand that their customers serve the same purpose. Customers support the company. A loyal customer base provides stability, and our present and future customers provide an opportunity for growth. So how can companies reach their customers? How can they create an emotional connection that will drive a person to buy your product or service? Well, there are three basic issues that need to be considered. Who's the target market you'd like to reach? What does the company want to say? And how will that message be delivered? Let's start by considering the target market. A good marketing department will isolate people that they would like to target as potential customers. Sometimes the market is quite narrow, so reaching most of them might be rather simple. On the other hand, some target markets are large and diverse. They contain people with very different lifestyles. This could pose challenges in reaching all of them in a simple and cost-effective manner. So we may need to dissect the target market into smaller slices, reaching each slice with a different message or using a different medium. Now that we know the market, what do we want to say to them? Are we trying to make them curious? Do we want to stir emotions, excitement, inspiration, fear? Perhaps the goal is to build trust. Some companies want to invite customers to be part of a group. Ultimately, we hope the customer will be called to action. Make a purchase, join our club, visit our website. While a good product or service will satisfy a customer, customers need to be aware that the product exists. They must trust they will get value for their purchase, and they must be driven to seek out the product or service and then purchase it. Developing a message that can quickly inform, inspire, and move someone to act, that's not easy. It requires creativity and a deep understanding of human behavior. With our message in hand, it's now time to deliver the message to our target market. How can we make contact with the customer? Digitally, in their cars, at an event, in a trusted atmosphere. Perhaps they hear about us through a friend, or maybe they learn about us at a store. Each of those mediums is different. So a marketing executive has to be able to send the same message using different mediums. Is your message something that can be delivered using audio, video, pictures, digital messaging? Is your message simple enough that it can be powerfully delivered by other people? All the while, we need to remember that our budget is limited. So as we consider identifying the target market for our message, crafting a message for that market, and then delivering that message so it is heard or seen by our customer, we have to ask ourselves, are we maximizing our investment? If we spend $1 million to communicate with 200,000 potential customers, how many of those people will need to purchase our goods and services such that we make a profit? Relationships are a two-way street. Both parties need to feel enriched by the relationship. By knowing your target market, crafting a meaningful message, and knowing how to deliver that message via multiple mediums, companies can communicate with customers, new and old. Why do companies decide to bring on new people? Perhaps they need to grow a department. Maybe they need to replace a person that left. It's possible the company requires a new type of employee to fill a modern need. Whatever the reason, to make a good hiring decision, the company needs to be able to describe the position to be filled, what type of employee they want to fill that position, and also how much it will cost to effectively fill that position. Let's say we want to hire someone to redevelop our website and then to manage and grow the website in the future. How would you describe the position so that it sounds interesting, so that we can attract the very best candidates, motivated professionals? But for a person with a bit of experience and for someone motivated to develop a strong career, this particular web development job sounds exciting. They're interested. They like us. That's good. But do we like them? Let's tell them what we expect. Hopefully, the unqualified have now moved on, and the best candidates are now working on their resume. Look, we can't interview everyone, so we need to do our best to find great candidates and entice them to apply for the job. Communicating a job description and job requirements, and then being sure that the best people know about the job is only the first phase of finding a great person to join our company. Now that we have applicants, we need to figure out which candidate is the best fit for that job and our company. So, how do companies figure out who to hire? Well, let's consider what we might want from our web developer. They need to talk to executives. They need to have the ability to develop creative content. They need to have technical skills. They have to understand our culture and our ethics, and they have to be trustworthy. How could you see if the candidates have everything it takes to be successful in this job? Interviews? Sure. But how could you test their ability to develop creative content? How about asking to see some of their past work? Do they have a portfolio of work? How about technical skills? Perhaps we can have them take a test. Maybe we can give them some homework that they could bring to the interview. Are they trustworthy? Nowadays, most companies will also do some sort of background check with law enforcement and perhaps also with past employers. And once the interviews are over, you'll also need to consider some other issues. What happens if no one is fully qualified? Would you be willing to take someone that is mostly qualified? Also, are your hiring practices legal and ethical? Is diversity for your company government mandated or part of a plan for corporate excellence? And who gets to make the final hiring decision? Their new boss, a top executive, the person that interviewed them, or perhaps someone in human resources? And even when you find the best candidate and decide to make them an offer, there is still the question of whether or not they will accept the offer. The best candidates often have lots of options to choose from. Offers, counter-offers, negotiations, and signing a contract may be all part of the hiring process. Once they accept the position, you will need to gather their personal information for company records and sign them up for a benefits package. Once we have them in the system, the new employee might go through a corporate orientation, and then they might get trained on equipment or business processes. Imagine going through all that time, all those resources, and then finding out you hired the wrong person. Great people are the key to a great work environment and excellent customer satisfaction. Recruiting, evaluating, hiring, and training employees is extremely expensive. Companies that do not take these processes seriously waste lots of time and money and are then stuck with a subpar workforce. Money. It's the lifeblood of the organization. It needs to flow. Money comes in from customers. Money must also go out to employees and suppliers. What happens if the flow stops? No revenues from customers, the company dies. If we stop paying people, no supplies, no employees, the company dies. So, whose responsibility is it to keep track of the money flow? Finance? No. Finance does deal with money, but their job is not to keep track of money flows. Their job is to obtain funds and also to invest them. Keeping track of the money flow is the job of accounting. They're responsible for tracking money coming in from customers, money going out to employees and suppliers, and they're also responsible for keeping track of money flowing inside the organization from one department to another. Why is this important, and who benefits from this tracking of the money? For that, let's discuss the two types of accounting: managerial accounting and financial accounting. Managerial accounting keeps track of where all the money goes. This is important to people inside the company. This helps with budgeting. It helps us keep track of departments that are using money wisely, and it also tells us where there might be waste. Managerial accountants are the ones that tell us how much it costs to make and deliver a $2,000 television to the consumer. So, managerial accountants help managers inside the organization measure costs of production, marketing, and everything else that goes on inside the company. They also assist in developing budgets for next year as well as budgets for new projects. After the fact, they can then report if people are staying within those budgets. Plus, managerial accountants find ways to help us minimize taxes. So, what do the folks in financial accounting do? Instead of being responsible for reporting to folks inside the company, financial accountants are tasked with developing reports for people outside of the organization. Why is this important? It informs people about our company's financial status. That's important for anyone considering investing in the company and for organizations that might consider lending money to us. Plus, government agencies, special interest groups, employee unions, law enforcement, and sometimes even customers are interested in knowing about the financial activities as well as the financial stability of the organization. While financial reports are generated by financial accountants throughout the year, they work hard to develop the all-important annual report. The annual report provides financial data, a written recap of events from the past year, and a statement of concerns and opportunities for the company in the future. This information in the annual report will influence all sorts of actions and behaviors inside and outside the company. So, financial accountants must carefully consider every word and outside of the organization. As you can see, having accountants, both managerial and financial accountants, helps a company learn from its past, understand its present financial health, and